Hello, welcome to my ADI Part 3 series where I get all the answers about the tests from an ex-ADI enforcement officer, the people who will conduct your Part 2, Part 3 and standards check tests. I've put 16 of the most burning questions that both PDIs and ADIs ask about the test, and in this video I ask the question, am I allowed to pull up during the test? So another question I get asked a lot is, I from PDIs, that they need to keep the wheels turning. So are they allowed to pull up, or?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, you're allowed to pull up. If you can try and keep it on the move, if you could have the conversation on the move, that would be ideal. But sometimes I know that, for me personally, so I sometimes struggle with people asking me a lot of questions on the move. I need to take it in, so you do have that. And also geographically where you are, if you're on a dual carriageway, heavy rain, fog, maybe that's not the best time to be talking loads on the move. You might want to stop here and there. So it really depends on subject, where you are and the person. And when you do stop, you want to make it count. You want to, just quick little sort of, okay, so we've just pulled over, we've had that happen, how do you feel, what do you think, what should we do from that, same level of help, a different help, go.
Get to the point.
Try and be quite. Don't dilly dally, because there's nothing worse than thinking, oh, if you had more time, and as an examiner, I obviously can't. I have to just leave you hanging. I can't really come in and say that's enough, guys. You need to keep it going. And I've seen several examples of people also have something's happened, like a legal breach. In other words, they've gone over a solid line. It's the roundabout not too far from here where that's occurred. The instructor has intervened physically to keep them in the lane. They then said, well, we need to talk about that. We can't do that right here. Let's just pull over for a second. And that's crucial. Risk, anything to do with risk, either physically or verbally, or even if it's a close call, either pulling over or on the move, you need to deal with that really quickly, otherwise it's just going to happen again.
Are you doing that so that you're checking that people fully understands the risk of what they've, so there's clear understanding of do you know what the problem with that is? And what could happen if you
and
do
also
that?
It's the likelihood as well. I mean if you had say you had an observation fault at a roundabout, so the person's about to pull out in front of a car, you had to hit the brake or say stop or something like that, and you've got a couple more roundabouts coming up, but between them you've got a little lay-by or something, and you wouldn't have enough time to do this on the move. I just think to myself, well, what's the likelihood of that happening again? It's pretty high, because we don't know why it happened. It was out of character for that person. It's not on the, we need to find out, because you're just dealing with a ticking time bomb otherwise. It's only a matter of time. And if the most effective way to do it is to just stop the wheels for a moment, say, right, so that happened. Why, you're happy that I intervened, and you know why I intervened. So what was your thought process with it? Why do you think it was going to happen? And crucially, what's going to stop that from happening again? What's the lesson learned from that? How are we going to incorporate that? So yes, you can stop, but you want to make it count, really.
What if the PDI, because they're on a test, they're feeling nervous, anxious, and their pupils literally pulled the rug from under their feet. There's a load of things just gone wrong. Is there any shame for that PDI just to say pull up, just for them to gather their thoughts?
No, that's absolutely fine. That is absolutely fine, because again, like I think I've said on a previous thing, is when you pull over, it's for you as much as it's for them, because you're thinking, right, okay. Because when you're moving, as a teacher, you've got to worry about what's happening, where you're going, what they're doing, what has happened. It's a lot to do. It's a lot of pressure.
So you could have a little timeout just to gather your thoughts, prioritise, make a list, prioritise, and think, and then go back and say, all right, I think I've got it now. Talk to your people and sort of recalibrate,
reset almost. I mean, and it would be preferable if you could do that, in a way, so maybe, for example, you thought to yourself before the test, if I get overwhelmed, what will I do? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull over, count to 10 in my hand, calm myself down and go into it. If you're discovering that on the drive, that might waste more time, which is not, it might not result in you failing, but it is just going to think, you're limiting learning, and at that point you're limiting, how much score you can potentially get, or how high you can get into your pass potentially.
And what about on the flip side of that, your pupil has a meltdown?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you've had people cry.
Yeah, I've had people ask us to get out of the vehicle.
The students cry.
Yeah. That's a tricky one. If the pupil has the right to say they do not wish to continue, you know, because they've got emotional, and I think morally, if you sit next to someone that's upset or really clearly is in a state where they're not able to drive the car objectively any longer, you should probably really ask them, you know, take a moment. I've got tissues, you know, hope you're all right, everything, you know, to be caring, whatever it might be. But when they've got to a point you're happy to ask that question, that kind of needs to be seen. You know, don't worry about me at all. This is about you. Are you okay and happy to continue to drive this car? And as an adult, you really kind of need to make that decision yourself as well. So if you think, no, I think this person, knowing this person I do, I don't think this person's in a state, but they say yes. Sometimes you do have to weigh that up and think, actually, do you know what, just take another minute, because I think at the moment you're still a bit angry about what happened or whatever it might be. Obviously, if the person can't continue, then the test will be terminated, and it really depends on the nature of what's happened. If the person has just got emotional because of something that's happened in their personal life, say, and it's just suddenly come out, or something's triggered their mind to it, then that's no fault of yours, and that'd probably be a free retest at some point, possibly. If it's something that's you know, you've interfered with them, you've grabbed their hand, it's hurt like hell, and they've got a wound on that hand that's now really freaked them out, and that's made them feel really upset and stuff, that's something directly you've done, that potentially could be assessed and potentially could be given, but it's really circumstantial. It's very hard to have a definitive on something like that.
Good. And another sort of related thing about like the wheels moving and things. So, you know, let's say there has been some incident, safety critical incident, and you need to discuss it. Quite often I'm hearing instructors kind of give the job to the pupil, like, I'd like you to pull up in a safe place, and they're stressed. Yeah. And they're driving, and so what's the sort of, you know, what would be the best way?
So it's all about the lattice of control. You know, if you were a licensed holder or someone that was trained and quite capable, and maybe you hadn't got emotional about whatever it was that had happened, I'd give you the option, say, well, just turn into here and just find somewhere suitable on the left just to pull us over for a moment. If, however, you're maybe less experienced and maybe because of what's happened or whatever it is, it'd be preferable just to speed things up and make it safe for everyone to say, you see the parked car on the left, we're going to pull up on the left just before you get to it. Do not worry about any of these markings, we're only going to stop for a moment, you know, just pull over just here.
So, for example, they could put up on yellow lines just if it's safe.
If it's safe, yeah. I mean, it's preferable if you could try. The area now comes into it. You know, in the area where we're sitting today in Norwich, you know, the little side roads like one we're on. So you could, if you knew the area, just say, well, just pull in the side road, just pull up somewhere on the left, or use a car park or something like that. But if you're on a very quiet road and it's single yellow line or something, then that's really it. And there's a couple of street lights, you could just say somewhere, just pull up on the left, just by this street light on the left here, do not worry about the markings, we're only going to stop just to chat for a moment, and then we'll try and keep it going after that.
So effectively the instructor's taking the responsibility for that.
Yes.
They're not giving that job to the learner who's already stressed to do
I tell you one I see quite often, which is when we then go into a car park to have the chat, and the instructor says, you know, just pick a bay, you do what you want to do, you know, you go forward or back, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just tick 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 with, you know, it's much better to take a bit of control. So we're going to turn left in the car park, we're going to go down this aisle, and then what I like to do is just go forward into one of the bays on the right hand side. Done. We're not here to do parking, we're here to talk.